Have you ever asked yourself, am I going to spend the rest of my life waiting for someone who was never meant to come? You scroll through weddings on Instagram, you watch your friends build families, and somewhere deep in your chest, there's this quiet ache that whispers, what about me? If that's been your question, if that's the prayer you've been carrying, then this video is for you. Because by the time we're done here, you're not going to feel rushed or panicked or left behind. You're going to feel something better, clarity. We often think love looks like the movies. We think it looks like a dramatic airport run, or eyes meeting across a crowded room, or some grand declaration in the rain. But here's the truth nobody puts in the highlight reel. When the right person actually comes, it usually feels quiet. It feels like breathing. It feels less like fireworks and more like finally coming home after a very long trip. And the reason so many people miss it, or worse, miss the signs that it's approaching, is because they're looking for Hollywood when God is speaking in something ordinary. So let's talk about what's actually happening in your life right now. Because these 5 signs, they are not coincidences. They are coordinates. And if even 2 or 3 of them are true for you right now, you need to hear what I'm about to say. The first sign is that you have recently gone through, or you are currently in, a season of deep internal work. And I know that doesn't sound romantic, but stay with me. Before a gardener plants seeds, they don't just toss them onto hard, rocky ground. They break the soil. They remove the weeds. They make space for something to actually grow. And that is exactly what has been happening to you. That therapy appointment you finally made, that toxic friendship you finally walked away from, that old version of yourself you quietly buried. You didn't just get through hard seasons, you were being prepared by them. The loneliness wasn't punishment, it was soil work. The heartbreak wasn't the end of your story, it was the end of the chapter that needed to end so the next one could begin. Most people want to skip this part. They want to rush past the quiet and get to the love story. But the soul that rushes past preparation will either attract the wrong person or won't recognize the right one when they arrive. If you have been doing the internal work, healing, growing, becoming more honest with yourself about what you actually need, that is not wasted time. That is a sign that you are almost ready. The second sign is that your life has recently put you in motion in ways you didn't fully plan. A new job, a move to a different city or neighborhood, a class you signed up for almost on a whim, a friend group that shifted. Something changed in the external landscape of your life, and you followed it even when it felt uncertain. Here's what you need to understand about that. The right person is not going to appear while you're standing still waiting. God or the universe, providence, whatever word you use, guides people who are in motion. What feels like an ordinary Tuesday, an ordinary commute, an ordinary introduction at an ordinary event is actually what the ancients would have called divine choreography. Ruth wasn't out searching for a husband. She was working in a field, walking in her purpose, doing the next right thing, and Boaz saw her there. Your story is not going to begin in a perfect moment. It's going to begin in a real one, and you are already moving toward it. The third sign is this. You have started to become selective in a way that once felt lonely, but now feels peaceful. There was a time, maybe not long ago, when you would have bent yourself into a pretzel to keep someone interested. You would have softened your opinions, laughed at things that weren't funny, pretended you were okay with things that weren't okay. And now, something shifted. You stopped performing. You stopped chasing. You started to notice when something felt off, and you actually honored that feeling instead of overriding it. That is not you becoming too picky. That is you becoming aligned. And here's why this matters. The person who is meant for you will not require you to hide your values or mute your calling or shrink your faith to fit into their life. A connection that is truly ordained doesn't demand that you become less. It calls out more of who you already are. If you have been protecting your peace, holding your standards, and walking away from things that don't feel right even when they look right on paper, that is not you pushing love away. That is you making room for the real thing. The fourth sign is that the people who know you best have started to say something is different about you. Your mother, your best friend, your mentor, someone close to you has commented on a shift. Maybe they said you seem lighter. Maybe they said you finally seem like yourself. Maybe they pointed out that you stopped talking about your ex, stopped grieving what didn't work, stopped rehearsing old wounds. And they're right, because something in you already knows that what is coming is better than what you lost. The people who love you are not the only confirmation either. The enemy of your destiny can counterfeit a feeling. He cannot counterfeit consistent discernment across multiple wise, spirit-led voices in your life over time. When your community sees something shifting in you, when they reflect your readiness back to you, do not dismiss that. That is one of the most reliable signs that the season is changing. The fifth sign, and this one is the one most people overlook entirely, is that you have recently stopped panicking about it. Not that you stopped caring. You still care. You still want it. But there's been a quiet settling inside you that's harder to describe than it is to feel. The desperate edge came off. The obsessive checking, the sleepless spiraling, the feeling that time was running out. It softened into something that resembles, of all things, peace. And what replaced the panic was something that looks almost like trust. That shift from panic to peace is not resignation. It is not you giving up. It is your spirit coming into agreement with a timeline that is not yours to control. And that alignment, that surrender, is often the final condition that has to be met before something extraordinary can enter your life. Because what is coming to you cannot attach to desperation. It can only meet you in your peace. So here's what I want you to hear before you click away. Whatever you are praying for, whatever you've been waiting for, whatever you have been half afraid to believe is still possible for you. It is not being withheld from you. It is being refined. It is being aligned. The details are being arranged in ways you cannot see from where you are standing right now. You don't have to chase what heaven is already preparing. You don't have to perform your way into it or shrink yourself to deserve it. The right person will meet you in your purpose, not in your panic. They will meet you in motion, not in desperation. Keep healing, keep moving, keep becoming who you actually are without apology. And if this video resonated with something you've been carrying, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for a person who is waiting is remind them that the wait is not wasted. Because your story is not over. In fact, the best chapter, the one you've been quietly hoping for on your hardest nights, the one you almost stopped believing in, is closer than you think. And it is just about to begin. Don't you dare stop now.